My demo today is going to be very hands-on. I'm going to convert two programs, and they're somewhat similar, but they do illustrate different techniques used in the RPG code. So the first one that you see on my screen is a product maintenance application, and it has a subfile with the RPG code loading all of the product records at once. And this is going to be important when I do our conversion. Now, it allows you to search by product, and then you can also work with records by displaying them or changing them. And we have prompting available within the program. Here I'm prompting the category field and then selecting the appropriate category using cursor positioning. The second program that we're going to look at is a customer maintenance program. So this is similar to the first one, but there's a few different techniques that are used. First of all, this is not a load all subfile. In this case, the records are loaded by RPG code just one page at a time. So as I page down, the records are being loaded. And it also uses a very common technique used in the green screen called subfile folding. So this allows me to expand the records to see the addresses of the customer. In my details screen, I have various types of validation. There's both DDS-based validation, and in this case I can press Alt F1 to see the list of possible values. And we also have program-based validation. So here the RPG code is going to validate my state code against a database file. All right, so now let's get into the exciting part of our demo. Let me jump into the Profound UI. This right here is the welcome screen. And I'm going to show you what it takes to modernize the screen. And I'm going to start off with refacing. This is also something that we call web-enabling 5250 on the fly, or the Genie module within Profound UI. So Genie is based on something that we call skins. And skins are basically predefined templates of HTML and cascading style sheets. And what I'm going to do is select one of the skins that I've created here specifically for this webinar. So I'm going to launch that skin, and right away we see the sign-on screen. And this is really the equivalent of a green screen session running in a browser. So think of Genie as a really powerful browser-based emulator. So let me sign on. And one of the first things that I'm going to see is my main menu. That's my starting menu. You and your users may, of course, have a different starting menu. And let me draw your attention to some of the enhancements, some of the automatic enhancements that just came out of Genie. So first of all, the menu itself, the options become hyperlinks, so I can click on the menus. And the function keys become buttons at the bottom of the screen. I still have my command line. And the first thing that I'm going to want to do is set up my library list so I can call the programs. So the first program that we're going to look at is that product maintenance program. Again, right away you'll see some automatic enhancements. So the subfile has been detected, and there's a nice grid that's been overlaid on top of it. You'll notice that the options now appear as little combo boxes. And you'll also notice a little scroll bar over here. Now in this case, you may note that the scroll, well, it's rather dumb. Since we're refacing a 5250 session, it really has no way of knowing how many total records there are. And the scroll process is a little slow because we're just paging one screen at a time. Now let's look at the details screen real quick. Again, the screen is rendered directly from the 5250 session and translated to HTML on the fly so it can run in the browser. But let's say that we wanted to enhance it a little bit, and Genie allows you to do this with this design toolbar. This is something that I, as a developer, see, but my end users will not see this toolbar. So I'm going to click design mode on, and right away I can start enhancing this particular screen. So for example, I can move buttons around, and I can rename them. I can also go onto any element and start changing colors, fonts, sizes. And I can change the types of elements that I use for my input. So here we're going to use a checkbox, and here we may want to use a drop-down. And last but not least is the fact that I can even add new elements. For example, I can grab this, I can pop out this widget panel and grab a tab panel and just drag it onto the screen. So that's a new element that I've added. So I really have a lot of flexibility here as long as the underlying flow of the green screen session that's running behind this does not change. So at this point, I can just go ahead and save my changes. And once I get out of design mode, I'm going to see exactly what the user would see. So our other program, let's jump into that one real quick. Customer maintenance. It's going to look very similar. This one happens to have fold and unfold capabilities, which again, they look really nice. And what I want to show you here is how validation works. So if I were to enter an invalid credit rating, similar to the original green screen, that field is highlighted and I have a message at the bottom of the screen. I can click on that message to see a list of valid values. So I just wanted to show you this so we can compare how refacing operates versus the next step that we're going to do is DDS conversion. So that was my brief introduction to refacing. Let me now exit out of refacing, and I'm going to start the Visual Designer.